Hey everybody, what's going on? Emo Tempest here, and back with the next set review from Nightmares. We're doing the ice today. Hope all your deck building and card pulls have been exactly what you need. But let's waste a little less time in this one and get started. How about that? Alright, Waltrol. I think this is a fantastic card. Paired very well with might be the next one? Nah. I just think that the amount of free crystals this card's going to generate is going to change what crystals will be doing. I think he's just it's very simple and so many ways to recur him and search him that we're not going to have a problem generating crystals. Now, the best thing we need to realize is what we're going to be doing with those crystals, and in there lies the problem. I will be messing with this card myself personally, so look forward to that. Next, Vincent. When Vincent enters the field, choose up to 3 backups, freeze them. Choose a character, freeze it, and then Nightmare Shot. Tap Ice, choose a 4, deal it 8,000 damage. I think this Vincent is pretty solid, honestly. The only thing I don't like is his power. I don't know if we're gonna play it because it's not that great, right? But I think in sealed he does do a lot and he makes a lot of impact. If you get multiples of these, I would definitely hold. I might consider strongly advising going ice. I think sealed and limited ice might already be a pretty strong contender in top colors, but yeah, cards like this kind of win you turns, like being able to freeze 3 backups. Umaro, Brave. Put Umaro into the break zone, choose a 4, deal it damage equal to Umaro's power. And you can discard 2 category 6 characters to play Umaro onto the field. Dole. You can only split it during your turn, during your main phase, and if Umaro is in the break zone. Not a bad card. Honestly, not too much of a drawback, in my opinion. Umaros in the past have always had a lot of, restrictions, if you will. But other than being 4 cost, he's pretty solid. Being able to bring himself back too isn't too bad when you're playing, the other Edgar and you have so many options and so many duplicates that stuff like this isn't a big deal. And then being able to send him and then just bring him back in the same turn also seems like a good play. You would attack effectively, right? Ideally get a damage off, send him, kill something. And then if you have extra cards, because you usually attack before doing anything, you can just go, okay, we'll bring him back. And the following turn he'll do it again, right? Something like that. So obviously it's dependent on his power, so any ice buff will do. You have summons that do it. You have backups that do it, and I'm sure there's FF6 cards that also buff power. But I'll have to double check me on that one. But yeah, pretty good card. Cloud of Darkness. When Cloud of Darkness enters the field, choose a monster your opponent controls, break it. At 3 damage, Cloud of Darkness gains Brave. I think this is good. Ice needed something like this. I hate that it's a little pricey. In sealed, it's very important to have this. Again, further backing my Ice is a good solid color to pick in sealed. But a decent card. Just I hate the name clash, obviously, but and the cost. It's a little too high for what it does. Sorry about that, guys. Next, Shiva. If an ice forward has entered the field during this turn, the cost required to cast Shiva is reduced by 4. Choose a forward your opponent controls. Dull it and freeze it. Draw a card. Yeah, very good card as well. Again, I speak very highly of these summons this set. Very good. My only concern with this is that it's a forward, so it's kind of dead on turns where you're holding anyway, but during early game you might not need it as much. I don't know. It's limited to forward, right, is the problem. So that's the only drawback I can find to this. It's either way, it's a pretty good card. Snow. If your opponent has 1 card or less in their hand, Snow gains 2,000 power. When Snow blocks, your opponent discards a card. A weird card. I honestly didn't see this one for a long time until about right now. It's just been going over my head here. In sealed, there is the off chance you pull Hope and some of the starter cards. So in that vacuum or whatever, these are all pretty decent, being able to work together. And on his own, he's not bad. If your opponent blocks, when Snow blocks, your opponent discards a card. So you can block and effectively find a way to remove your opponent's forward, causing them to discard. In a world where they only have 1 card in hand, and you can send it back to their hand when this triggers, you can respond to send them back and then have them discard the forward. So it's a weird world, but it's not bad. So yeah, he's decent. I don't know if we'll replace him over, or I don't know which version. There's too many snows, right? So really just have to decide what's the right snow for you. Sarah Mobius, very nice looking card. Cannot attack or block, which is weird always, but choose a forward and gain 2,000 power until the end of the turn. Choose 2 forwards, stole them, or your opponent's auto ability. If your opponent doesn't pay 2, cancel its effect. I'm glad Ice has something to kind of work towards auto abilities, but it's still never enough. I feel like that 2 CP, unless it's a, when they're already discarding, sure, it might be a lot more to dance around, but in a regular, gentleman game, or it doesn't seem too much sometimes. But the card is solid, has a lot of ways to support a lot of cards. It's strong enough that it shouldn't die too easily for a 2 cost. So there is that. The fact that it's Mobius is also good, but the job is what concerns me. No other way to search it really well outside of Ice and just the category. So we usually like to go for the 3, cost, job, and category, or even forward or backup. So the more ways you have to search a card, the better it is, right? Sephiroth, back attack. Cost required to cast Sephiroth is reduced by 1 for each point of damage you have received. When Sephiroth enters the field, choose a dull forward to break it. I did this in Sealed. It was fun. Outside of that, I don't think this card will see play. Unfortunately, too, a lot of people are upset that this good, nice art is being wasted on such a mediocre backup, and I kind of agree. Put your thoughts in the comments. Kurlax, when the job Dream Stooge you control is put from the field into the break zone, your opponent discards a card. Choose a forward, dull it, and freeze it. You can only use this ability if you control the other 2 Stooges, and only once per turn. Again, after seeing what these guys can do in Sealed, I find them a little more annoying. After further, hearing the thoughts of my team on these cards, I just gotta see it against certain matchups and then make a better decision from there. But make sure you guys keep an eye on these cards. If you haven't run into them or you don't run into them, maybe have someone build it and test against you so you know what's going on. And but they're decent. They're all heroes, so something to keep in mind. They're obviously strong together. So yeah. Chocobo Eater. When Chocobo Eater enters the field, choose a forward of cost 2 or less your opponent controls. Remove it from the game, and as long as Chocobo Eater is on the field. I don't think this card is very good. I don't think you'll play this card. If you do, maybe a one of, but that's very, 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 yeah, that's going to be rare. I don't know how bad you need to remove a 2 costs from, your opponent's board. There are other ways, better ways, more efficient ways. Yeah, that's all. Terra, backup, EX Burst. When Terra enters the field, select one of the following 2 actions. Choose a dull forward, deal an AK, and choose a summon in your break zone, add it to your hand. I think this might be my new favorite Terra backup, mostly because it's EX Burst and it has recursion. The first ability to dull an AK forward is nice, but mainly when you're on the back end, right? Like you're being attacked and you're hoping for this one, which is great. But then how many of these do I really want to play? And then when you're setting up, again, you're waiting for it. So that's the slower part, but we like the first part. I mean, the second part that kind of makes this a neutral card. It's good. It should see play. Tono, backup. When it enters the field, choose a forward. Choose 1 forward, freeze it. You can put Tono into the break zone. Your opponent discards a card. You can only use it during your turn. I think this one will replace the other typo backup that says you both discard. You would play that one as well, or maybe 1-in-1, some world where you're playing these, just to get keep control of your cards in your opponent's hand. It's not a bad card. I like it. Norshtalin. When Norshtalin enters the field, select one of the following actions. Choose a category FFCC forward other than card name Norshtalin in your break zone, add it to your hand, or choose a card name Waltrell forward in your break zone and play it onto the field. So the Waltrell part is great. The other part is even better too. This card is free 99 any way you spin it, right? Alone, it has a lot of value. I haven't gone into it, but I can guarantee there's a lot of FSCC forwards, and like I said, you're gonna be using these effects a lot. So I like it very much. Oh, whoops! Didn't mean to X out there. I'll go to the next one. Flan. When Flan is put from the field into the break zone, you may search for a card named Flan and add it to your hand. Until the end of the turn, Flan also becomes a forward, and forward with 3,000 power. You can only use this ability during your turn and only once per turn. So, yeah, you can search for. There's like several Flans you can search with this, but remember, it has to be a card named Flan, not Jumbo Flan, not the other purple Flan. I can't remember what it's called, but there's off-brand Flans, if you will. But either way, you can search anything that shares the exact same name. And since they're all multiple copies, you shouldn't have a problem playing them either. So, how many of these you're going to use? I don't really know. I don't think we need to search this many Flans since they don't all do the same thing. I mean, if you really have cleared the board, then multiple Flans at 3,000 power don't matter. It might be worth it, right? If you're freezing, dulling, and freezing all your opponent's stuff anyway, then just, there you go, here's 3 extra points of damage. You don't actually care that these die because they're 1 CP and they netted you 2 CP, right? Or they can net you this. So, something to think about. First strike. When Nuke enters the field, choose a dull forward. If the cast paid with CP of 3 or more different elements, break it. Not a bad card. Again, these are decent in the sealed limited pool, but outside of that, I don't think they'll see much play. Lean or Leon. When Lean enters the field, if your opponent has 1 card or less in their hand, you may search for a card and add it to your hand. I like this effect for back in the day when there was a little less way to fight against the discarding stuff. So it's a good card, I think. I don't know if it'll make it to the deck unless we get a little faster turbo discarding. In that case, I think this card will be, at 2 or 3, so you can make sure you draw it in those situations, because being able to search for a card, any card you want, in a situation where your opponent's top decking is that much greater. Numo. Put Numo into the break zone, choose a forward, dull and freeze it. At damage 3, when he enters the field, your opponent discards a card. 2 decent effects. I think this is probably one of the better ice generic backups we've had in a while, and so I think he should see play at least 1 or 2 when you don't have anything else to play. Or if mono ice makes a comeback and you need slots, which you usually do, I find it. This guy will replace whatever the older ones were. Oh, and that's it for us there. As always, guys, if you haven't, make sure to check out the multicolor element review. You'll see those, and if you want to see more on the FF13 stuff, make sure to check out both the starter deck review and the deck profiles of the decks I made there. So Ice is very interesting this set. A lot of decent and versatile cards. Waltro and Norstalin are the big hitters for me. Sarah Mobius as an L is interesting. Should see some kind of play, but I have concerns with it, right? The Ice Summon is a killer, so don't sleep on it. And as far as backups go, I think Terra and the Numo are pretty good. But yeah, anyway, let me know what your favorite Ice card is so far from the set. Or any card, really. You can just talk about it in the comments. But yeah, if you haven't yet, make sure to check out the other videos, guys. Thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and I hope you and happy deck building.